Hey folks, Rob here. Welcome to the new year. 2026 is on us. This is going to be the first video of the year, and we're going to be talking about solitaire third printing. Now, we're going to talk about what to expect, and this is completely hypothetical. I have no idea what to expect with third printing, and we're going to call it printing, not third edition, and we'll go into those reasons why. This is going to be about 70% conjecture and 30% based on what I've seen. And again, we're going to get into that. So what do we expect from the third printing of solitaire third printing? All right, so what are we looking at here? What it is not is, again, it's not third edition. Now, we call it printing because that's the terminology that we've been hearing from the We're Not Dead Yet podcast, from what emails I've been getting from Scott Blanton from their production. It's a printing, so it's not a version update. There's not going to be, or sorry, I shouldn't say it's not an edition update. There's going to be some new material added. As you can see from this list here, it's not an exhaustive list. There's not going to be any rewriting of the rules per se. There might be some, there's a couple of pieces of errata that will probably be added in. And there's going to be some amplification because there's new things like the Nordic theater, which as you can see there. They're going to have to add some information for that. And, of course, there's going to be some information on the Korean War because that module is now out, and they have to add rules for that. So there's going to be a couple of additions, but it's not going to be a necessarily new addition. Now, that could be hair-splitting. From as far as I know, it's just going to be a printing and not going to be a new addition. But, again, it could be hair-splitting. Now, what we have done, and I say we, in the process of doing this SASL rules writing that I've been doing since March of last year. If you've seen that video, you know what I'm talking about. We've been going through the hassles that have been released by MMP and writing up a set of rules for how to play them solitaire. And in the process, a couple of guys in the community have come out with some really brilliant ways to ramp up the AI, because if you've played solitaire, you know that in many cases they really need a hand to make them smarter, make them fight harder, because it's really a pushover. In many cases, you can game the system if you know how to game it, and increase your chances of winning. And there's several tools that have been developed, well, rules, if you will, that have been developed by the guys that, and we submitted this to MMP to make them tougher. Things like activating by a vehicle. So normally, with the vehicle, unless it's crew exposed, you can drive around as long as you stay 2 hexes away from a suspect counter. You're never going to activate a vehicle unless it's crew exposed. Now that's crazy, of course, because if you present your Panther with its ass to an enemy, if you have any kind of anti-armor weapons, you'd be taking shots at it. But because of the rules, unless it's crew exposed, you're never going to do that. Hence, we have a rule for that. Now, if you have within 6 hexes, for example, you could generate a tank, you could generate an AT gun, or you could generate a squad with the Panzerschreck, bazooka, what have you, depending on what you're fighting. So there's a whole bunch of new rules that we developed. We submitted this to MMP. They said we don't want to mess with the core rules right now, which again leads me to believe that this is going to be a printing, not a rules addition change. So, which we're going to get into a little bit later on. But we submitted a bunch of rules, and that's one of them. Another one was let's add vehicles. So if you buy a certain number of vehicles, say 300 BPV worth of vehicles to your order of battle, you compensate the enemy by giving them a whole bunch of anti-armor assets, for example. It just changes the flow of the scheme of things. And there's a whole bunch of different other ones. But again, we don't want to change the core, is what MFP said. And the base refused it for perfectly good reasons. So that leads me to believe, again, this is just going to be a version update, not a edition update. Now, having said that, there are some rules that are out there, like Desert, for example, which is not covered in Solitaire. They did add Night between first and second edition, so that was good, but they never added Desert. Now, there was a set of rules. You can find them on, I want to say, Texas ASL. Game Squad has a set, I think, a PDF on there as well. I believe it's the same one. Excuse me. And there are, I want to say there's another set out there of something, and blanking on it right now, but there are some other unique situations that do require rules. Maybe Nordic will have its own set of winter rules that we could use in solitaire that need to be developed, and maybe those will come out now that we have a Nordic theater to play with, and we're going to try and get those developed as well. So maybe this will all evolve into eventually a third edition, but again, that's down the road. And I don't really know. I haven't seen the rules per se for this third printing. I've just seen generation tables. I've seen the map board tables, but I haven't seen any rules except for the Nordic ones. And I haven't even seen the Korean ones, if there are any for that matter. So, what is it? We do know that we're going to have new tables for generations. You can see the table of contents here. I've just proofed myself and some other guys. And these have all been, I submitted my edits. Now the layouts are all done. And we just have to do the proofing parts. So that tells me that they're really close to finalizing the product. And again, if the, well, we'll get into that. I don't want to get ahead of myself here. Excuse me. Oh, much better. We have expanded the map boards, I should say MMP has. We're now going up to board 92. The geo boards, we've added 10 Zulu and 17 Zulu. We've got the starter kit boards from G to Z. And we've got the fort boards, everything from 1 to 22 already on the tables. And they've left space for 23 to 25, and of course A and B as well. And they have the VPOs assigned for those boards as well. So what that means is that all the missions already in existence, 1 to 21, are going to have to be adjusted to compensate for the addition of those boards. Now, whether that means that they add notes to the map board selection of the mission, or they just write it into the rules, again, version versus additions, I don't know. The easier way might be just to write in the rules. When it comes to map board selection, there's just a little blurb. You can do this. Really, a fort board is basically one map board just split into two. So it's really quite simple to do that. It doesn't really require a stretch of imagination to visualize that. I don't think so anyways. But they're going to have to make some kind of comment somewhere in the rules or on the mission cards to let you know that you're going to have to do some kind of adjustments. We're going to have more missions. Now, I've submitted 3. No idea what the status is, if they've seen them or where they are in the process, if they've even looked at them or considered them. I know Mark Hatfield has submitted several. I PT'd 2 of them myself, Fortified Line and Sweep. Was that one? Or was it the Depot one? Depot Raid, I think, was the other one I did, which is a really cool one. It's more of a special forces one, but you can do it with a company. You're basically raiding a fuel depot or ammo depot in the back behind enemy lines. It's a really cool one. The fortified line one is really tough. You're basically working your way through a mine belt and a wire belt through fortifications. You got to take out pillboxes. It's a really tough one. And he uses that in his Crimea campaign one, which is a campaign that he also submitted. It's a historical campaign, so you may have seen these online, as well as Hans Mielent's one on Barbarossa, and there's another one they did. I also have 2 as well. Again, we're going to get into what's going to be coming up next in the next slide, but Mark Hatfield submitted several missions, and others has as well. Gordon Mollick has submitted a couple. I want to say Smash and Grab is one that he submitted, and King of the Hill, I think, are 2 that he submitted. I'm not sure on that. Maybe I'm wrong, Gordon, if you can correct me, by all means. But what that means is we're going to be getting about 25 to 30 new missions, well, total missions. So you're going to have a lot more variety to play with as well. So again, we're going to have all these boards all the way up to 92. We're going to have the 2 extra 10Z and 17Z, Zulu or Z if you will, and we're going to have the starter kit boards. We're going to have the Nordic Theater. We're going to have the Korean War. All the factions are there. We're going to have the VPOs for all those boards, and we're going to have a lot more missions all coming in. We're going to have Nordic information in the campaign companies area, information on how to use it and what to consider for your Russian and for your German Nordic companies. And again, this is not to say that it's going to be a third edition, again, hair splitting, but it's more or less because they keep using the term printing, third printing. I'm just going to go with that. So we're going to call it a third printing. All right, so what does that mean? What's next? Now, this is the forestall questions because I know you guys have been asking. And the reason I'm making this video, by the way, is because I've already got several questions on my Discord. So what you can see, and I've already done this video, what I did in 2025, and this is my table of contents for my my SASL hassle. Based on the We're Not Dead Yet podcast, they've already mentioned this, so this isn't news. There's talk about doing a second module or box, or I'm not sure how they're going to do it, second product, if you will, for SASL. And my understanding is it's going to be the solitaire hassle stuff. Now, they're probably going to include Mark Hatfield's Crimea stuff. They may include Jorgen's Red Barricades and Bloody Reef Tarawa. I imagine Tom Warren's Valor of the Guards will be in there. My stuff will probably be in there as well. They may include these solitaire optional rules like you can see down here at the bottom right. This is just an example of what I was talking about. All this kind of extra stuff may go in there because my understanding is it's already been delayed a year, the printing of the SASL. They don't want to delay anymore. They want to get it into people's hands, and all this extra stuff is just doing that. It's delay, 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 and they don't want to do that. Now, I don't know what, in terms of counter sheets, what that means. Are they going to be doing extra stuff? I think there's no need for it. I can't see why they would need extra counter sheets than what that was already in second printing, second edition. So I think it's just a straight up reprint. Obviously going to have to do some, adjustments. That came out in 2000. It's now 25 years later, so hopefully they still have the data files and they don't have to recreate them. But you never know what happens there with MMP files. It's 25 years of old data, so who knows how that's going to go. But I believe the intent is to follow it up with the second product, which is going to include everything you can see here, the hassle stuff. Extra goodies, like I said, maybe the optional rules that we talked about, maybe that stuff might be included. No guarantees. Like I said, I could be talking on my ass here. But I believe at a minimum it's going to be including all this hassle stuff. I hope so. That's my belief. At a minimum, this stuff might be making its way into a journal. If it doesn't make it into that third product, it may prove unwieldy. It may be too expensive, depending on how the sales go on the third printing. That's down the road, so we'll take that as it comes. When are you going to see it? Again, I have no idea. I'm not the Amazing Kreskin. I don't have a magic 8-ball. I can vision pre-order going up first quarter. This is me guessing here. Based on the fact that if there's no rewrites for the rules, it's straight up reprinting with a couple of additions, which are not that egregious. The proofing is just that proofing. The layout's already done. It's just a matter of making sure the text is sound. And there are really only minor changes. A couple of tables that are they're messed up, I won't lie. But they're not egregious again. That can't be changed with a couple of text edits. And then it can go up for pre-order. And based on how long it takes to meet the quota, which I don't know what the number is, looking at Armies of Oblivion that's still waiting for pre-order to be reached. Hopefully it's not 700. God, I don't know. I want to be optimistic and think that that's not going to be a problem. I think there's a lot of love for solitaire out there. I hope that number can be reached. I'm probably going to put in 2 copies myself, just because I want that number to be reached. But based on the demand, once that number is reached, then again on the We're Not Dead Yet podcast, it takes 3 months from the time that they get the pre-order filled and they ship the printing demand to the company in China, and then they get the product back. and then of course it gets shipped out to the people that ordered it and such. So once the pre-order gets filled, between then and the time that it gets shipped, who knows how long that window is, but once it gets shipped, then it's 3 months to that date that you get the product in your hands. So who knows how long that's going to be. I really hope, guys, that you watching this video, I'm sure if you are watching this, you're interested in solitaire, ASL, you guys are going to be putting in your dollars into this product. I don't know what the cost is. Obviously, that's the MMP's ball of wax. I dare say I'm guessing the mid hundreds. Hopefully, it's not north of 200. That would be ridiculous. I can't see that. I have no idea. 150, ballpark 125 maybe. I really don't know. The printing process now, with the way things are in the world, who knows how things are going to evolve. First quarter, I'd be surprised if it's not up by the first quarter. Definitely by the second quarter. Again, all we are now is proofing the generation tables. The map generation tables are already done. Like I said, the rules are just a matter of formatting into the new, from the 2006 was when they did a errata pages update. So 20 years old text files into the newer format. I don't think there's going to be much issues. Not that they have to do much. They have to add a couple of paragraphs for Nordic theater, maybe some Korean War stuff. And I don't think that's going to take too much time. And like I said, proofing some generation tables. So I can see first quarter, but this is me guessing. So I just want to do a fairly short video on third printing of Solitaire and what I think it's going to be looking like. I am really looking forward to this. You know my love for Solitaire. I'm hoping you guys love it as well. This hopefully combined with my soon-to-be released SASL, and you're going to get a shitload of Solitaire playing coming soon. I'm still working on Ponry. I got to do the Russian side as friendly. I still got to play all the campaign as friendly. And then I got to do some of the 4 bridges. And in between that, I still have to work on Chef du Pont. I just got the rules from Dave, so I got to work on that. And of course, what else is there? Saint Marigli. And I think that's it. Denant I have to do as well with the campaign. So I got 2 missions out for Denant. Somebody's already testing those out for me, so that's really great. But I still have to do the campaign at Denant. So there's still a lot of work to be done, and that's going to be an evolving project. That's going to take a while. Again, if you are interested in Solitaire and you're willing to help me play test any of that stuff, my Discord link is going to be in the description. By all means, stop on by. I'm still looking for play testers, and just put your hand up and just jump on by. We'll see you guys next video. Bye bye.